Honestly, at this point, I just want to see that Boruto and Damon fight because like they both beat Code really easily. So like, how does Boruto actually compare to Damon at this point?
Nah, I'm calling cap on anyone that's saying that. I don't think there's any curiosity there. I think it's blatant that Damon is just way above still. He just has to
I
be.
think Damon would win, and I think he should win. If he isn't stronger than Boruto, what's the point of Damon? like,
Well, I don't think
um,
Damon has to
at
try
that point, like,
still. Like, I don't think Damon's gonna get his wish of having to go all out anytime soon. And even when he does get his wish, assuming that
yeah,
ever happens, he'll still win. Like a Damon going all out, the first
would be
time he
surprised.
has to
I
go
feel like
all
if
out. He
anyone,
still
though,
has to
like the one
win.
they're setting up to do that with is actually Himawari, crazy enough, not Boruto. I just think it'd be interesting to see how much Damon would try for that fight. But yeah, I still think Damon's stronger.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think it's even close.
That being said, we may have to see Damon fight if he fights the bug clone,
I'm
the bug
fine with
guy.
that. Mello thinks that Damon's gonna get off guarded or something. He's gonna have to be written out of the story. Mello doesn't know what he's talking about because that's just not true. I mean, first of all, Ada and Damon don't have to be written out of the
usually
story.
touching Ada at all times. He's like she's holding him in his lap or whatever. The bug guy would probably just get hit by the reflection. First of all, second of all, what would be the point of Damon then? Like really? Because then Ada just dies because Damon's dead, and it's like, why do we need Damon in the first place?
It's like Mello doesn't understand that these characters were written into the story. The problem isn't writing them out. Just don't write them in the first place if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, like, if they do that, I would critique the writing like crazy because it's like, then Damon shouldn't have been there in the first place. Because for the most part, Damon hasn't done a lot, really. And a lot of that stuff you could just remove. Like, Code could just escape from Kawaki without Damon, just write in another way. And Code, after he gets his limiters removed, Ada could just ditch him without Damon. And then he just right out the fight. He just loses Ada all the same. And then move on. Like,
yeah.
So
I hate people's examples with this. Going to Jujutsu Kaisen season 2 spoilers for those that haven't seen the anime. They didn't write out Gojo to write him out. It's the same thing they did with Sasuke in the Sasuke retrieval arc. He became a MacGuffin, and the purpose of the arc, like, he's the goal. Both the protagonist and antagonist are opposing each other because of that singular MacGuffin. He became an object on that arc, which is fine.
Yeah.
But like they didn't need to write him out. The reason they chose Gojo for that specifically, aside from him being OP or whatever, and like the MacGuffin, is because of his narrative implications with Geto. Like that's extremely obvious.
Yeah.
Like blatant. Like it's
And he
you don't
mattered.
need to explain.
He
that.
also mattered to the cast, like on a personal level.
Yeah, like if they needed to write him out because he's so OP, then first of all, why didn't they do this earlier? Why was Gojo not written out for the entirety of season 1, spanning multiple arcs?
Why was he just not weaker in that case? Like they just wouldn't make him that. It's the same thing of how. Oh, they had to write up Mata because he was so strong.
And then introducing a
stronger
character in Kaguya.
Up with a stronger person. Like, wouldn't make him that strong.
Oh my god. It's so crazy.
Like,
yeah.
You're just assuming the writer was just dumb enough to do this.
I know.
Like, I mean,
so
in fairness, it does some dumb decisions lately. But, like, I always assumed the benefit of the doubt at first, at least.
But then the second explanation, you don't have to write a character out to write a character out. Okay? So you don't have to seal Damon. You don't have to kill Damon. Damon's already been written out. He didn't do anything during the Code Invasion. Naruto was written out 90% of Boruto Part 1 because he's in the Hokage office. Like, what do you mean, write them out?
Like,
they're not
if
in
you want
the
to write
first
Damon
place.
out in terms of the Ada theme, you can just have Damon go talk to Himawari for, like, whatever reason. They go to the store together, they train, whatever it is, and Ada's alone for just a moment, and that's when Bug strikes. Like, it can be simple things like that.
Like, I don't know why Mello's acting like they need to be written out. Like, they're just the counter to the Shinju, and that as long as they're in the story, there's no stakes or tension. Ada's not using her Senrigan at all times, first of all, so it doesn't matter. Second of all, even if she does, so what? First of all, the bug one can just see it now. And second of all, it doesn't do anything. Okay, Ada sees them. So, like, Ada could see when Code invaded. That didn't stop Code from invading or weaken his invasion.
You know, that's actually really funny. Coming back to that, the whole reason Code used the claw grime and didn't invade in part 1 was because Ada was there.
I know.
So you wouldn't have a surprise attack.
I know.
So, honestly, I think Two Blue Vortex has got too much hype because I'm finding more and more problems here. Like, he's just wrong. She didn't do anything. She didn't inform anyone. They just sat behind and did nothing. Even Mitsuki did because it was part of his mission. Code could have just invaded in part 1 and successfully achieved his goal.
Yeah, Ada just doesn't care. Like, she just chilling
He had no
in her
reason
own
to wait.
house. And then nobody cared about
Like,
Ada.
they removed the reason for his waiting by doing this. Because, like, in the Akatsuki, you could say, oh, they could have, gathered the Bijou sooner and whatnot. They said that, they had missions they needed to do because we get more cash in on it with Payne's plan and Shippuden, like, explaining the plan. So over the time skip, they were mostly doing some of the money stuff that relates to later on in his plan. Now they're doing the Bijou part. So we have a reason for why they waited. And honestly, even if they invaded sooner, though, half the Bijou would have been the same situation anyway. B is not going to be any different. The only Jinchuriki that would have been different would be Naruto and Gaara. Like, that's the only two people that affected. Here it's just like Code had a reason, but then they removed the reason by, like, if all Ada had to do is just freaking say, Shikamaru, Code's coming, an invasion coming, and then boom, surprise attack failed. We got a reason for why he waited, and then the claw grime helped him out. But she didn't tell anyone, so it didn't matter.
Exactly.
In fact, him doing the claw grime gave him more preparation because Ada actually did tell them about the claw grime. It's less of a surprise attack, if anything. And also, Code could have just waltzed into the Leaf Village before Ada got to the Leaf Village. They were 3 days away. Code could have just gone.
So an OP character in fiction doesn't matter for 2 reasons. If one, the OP character doesn't just immediately kill the villain, and then 2, if they don't protect the other side characters. If those 2 things don't happen, it doesn't matter. Their OPness doesn't make a difference. Yeah, no, Damon doesn't give 2 squats about Kawaki. He literally said so himself last chapter.
He doesn't care about the Leaf Village either. That's why he didn't help him against Code. He only cares about Ada.
So I don't know what you're talking about. It's being like, oh, people, they have to be written out because, like, oh, they're just not going to be in danger as long as they're in the story. Like, no one's going to be in danger. It's Ada and Damon. They're not going to like, what are you talking about? Crazy. Like, Kawaki literally left to go into a deadly situation. Like, he literally almost got bitten by a claw grime. What was Ada's plan there? She couldn't stop him, and she wasn't going to stop him. She could have had Damon stop him. She didn't do that. They're letting...
She just watched. That's all she does.
Yeah, she just let Kawaki go into a lethal situation. She's not doing anything. She's just sitting, chilling. Like, it's not like she was even worried.
She doesn't want Kawaki to be safe, but, like, she doesn't go out of her way to do any of the protecting, besides intel. Exactly. And then for Damon, it's only when Ada's in danger that he does anything.
It's literally the same as Boruto just going on a mission outside of the village. Naruto's not there to do anything. And that doesn't just apply to part 1. If anyone just goes away from the OP characters, they're just not there to do anything, ever. Regardless if the OP characters leave the village, or if the main characters leave the village, or go to a different dimension, or whatever. Like, Damon can't fly. We know that now. Ada, it takes time for her to travel by flight.
So. Yeah, if it's in the air, Damon can't help you. The Jura can fly, so there you go.
Literally. I can't understand the problem. Like the
Like,
real problem here.
if anything, the thing he should be complaining about being written out of the story is Boruto himself, because Boruto's OP and he is the main character and he does want to protect people and so on. Not Damon.
Like, I've seen Anime K, the YouTuber slash Trippy's friend. You know him. Probably. He's been saying the same idea of like, oh, Damon's got to be written out of the story. His reasoning is just because Damon annoys him. Like, if you don't like Damon as a character, yeah, first of all, that's a personal problem. Like, you're just wrong. Like, Damon is just a good character. He's literally my favorite character. Like, he literally demands presence when he's on screen. He's like, he's just a good character, objectively speaking. So you're just like, you just have a personal problem if that's the case.
Fine.
Like your
I
own.
think that's fine. No.
Yeah,
in that
it's
case,
fine to
though,
have an opinion, but
fine.
like to
It
allow
doesn't
that
mean that he
opinion
needs
to
to be written out. It's just
allow
it's
that
not that he
opinion
needs
to
to be written out. It's
affect
just
your
you
view
want
of
to
the
be written out
story.
in that case.
Yeah, but they're saying like, oh, they need it to because the story won't be good if he's not. Like,
honestly, though, but if you're really gonna break it down, Damon is like a very much a very, very, very side character. Like, he hasn't done anything, especially in Two Blue Vortex. All he's done is comment on Boruto's jutsu and tell Kawaki the honest truth that when Jorah shows up, everyone's gonna know the lie he made. That's all he's done.
Like
Which is
he's a
honestly been
supporting character, but
I
I'd say it's like
enjoyed those
the
moments of
story. He's obviously going to be thrusted into the primary story eventually, if not very
eventually, but
soon,
like
if
right
not
now,
multiple
he's been
times.
like C story right now. He's like been in the back. He's basically been written out for the time being.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying that he's not actively doing anything, but I'd put him still B story, like in the same maybe C. Okay, I'd put him on the same tier as like Ino Shikacho with Himawari right now.
Yeah, and I think they're kind of C story right now.
That's fine. Yeah, okay, I got you.
It's
Okay.
like A story right now would be Boruto, Shikamaru, Mitsuki, and Kawaki, I guess. The Shinju clone, I guess they were B for a moment, but now they're definitely back into A when they
Yeah.
invade. So I guess once that happens, the only step down, I guess, is everyone else. Dude, the contrast between A and B is just that huge.